All right. Here we are. Okay. Just want to make sure everything looks like it's going quite well. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. Um, all right. Okay. So, hey, I'm Alex. I'm with SumoQuote. Um, as you can probably tell by the plaid on plaid combo and the sweater in the office, I am doing this up in Canada. It's a little chilly out here for me today. So, as you guys jump in, there's a little chat window off to the side here. If you want to hop in there, let us know who you are, where you're from. That'll be great. I've got some people on my team in there managing some questions and just kind of generally going through and making sure that everybody's got the kind of questions answered there. I have about 35 minutes to run through this session with you. So I'm actually going to start a timer on my side. I've got a tendency to be a little bit long-winded sometimes. So I'm going to kick that timer off, make sure that I'm keeping this one really nice and succinct. Hopefully, if I manage to breeze through this thing really quickly, then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. Otherwise, what we'll have here is I'm going to have my team drop in some links. If you're a current SumoQuote customer, you can always hop in there. They're going to put in a link to connect you to a designated customer success person on our side. So if you are a SumoQuote customer, you can chat with your designated rep through there, get all your questions answered. If you are not currently a SumoQuote customer, or you want to check out a little bit more detail and kind of go through one of these things in a little bit more of a personalized way, my team's going to be dropping links in there to connect with me or some other guys on the team, just to make sure that we're doing a little bit more of a personal one for you. But what I'm going to be doing on this session is really covering kind of what I've discovered as being the 5 core elements for a perfect quote. Now, a little bit of background on myself just here with SumoQuote. Over the past couple years, I've helped. I was looking at some of the numbers here from the other week. A little over 800 different roofing companies get set up with quoting systems. Now, that's obviously SumoQuote as well as tying in with some other aspects of the sales process. But when it comes to a quote, there are kind of 5 core things that I've discovered or kind of identified as being really, really important things for customers and making that process as easy as possible. I've seen hundreds of quotes. I've seen guys doing it in all sorts of different systems, and we've been able to test overall what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to be going through these things kind of one by one. I will do a screen share here. I will walk through kind of like I'll share my screen. I'll walk through a quote that I'll build out here, and we'll go through it kind of step by step. So let's actually dive right in. I'm going to move some stuff around here on my screen. Let's get this guy pulled up like so. Okay. So I'm going to start. I'm actually going to walk you guys through a sample quote that I've just prepared here. We'll kind of go through step by step what I think people should be really including in their quotes. And really, if they were doing this in SumoQuote or not in SumoQuote, really this is what I'd be looking for regardless. So hopefully everybody can see my screen here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, but this is kind of my standard version of a quote. As I scroll through it like this, we would be just going page by page. It is a single document that has every detail that the customer needs in order to make a decision. They can sign off on different options, everything. So we're going to go through this one page by page, but I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here so everyone can kind of see. I know that sometimes when I do a screen recording like this, it has a tendency to kind of make things slightly smaller. We're also doing this in a webinar platform. So hopefully everybody can see this thing clearly. Now, this on my title page is really bringing me into element number 1, right? Which is really your brand presence, right? When I talk to guys, one of the biggest concerns that they have is they say, hey, I'm in an area where I have tons of competition. Everybody and their mom is a roofer where I am in Texas, in Florida, in Colorado, wherever you might be in the country. and they want to be able to stand out. One of the major ways you can do that is with your kind of brand presence. You see, I've got a little SumoQuote kind of fake logo in here, but of course, you're going to want to have your quotes be branded. This is something that your customer is going to be using to distinguish you. It's kind of the number one thing that they keep in mind when they are reviewing, after you've left, if they haven't signed off on the spot. They're going to be looking at this thing. That you need to make sure that your company name, your logos, your brand presence is there. That can be done, of course, on my title page, but as many areas that I can put in my brand, I'm going to be doing that. So I'm kind of just on my general title page here. Now, some other elements here is I certainly want this to be customized. So if I were to just do a quick highlight here, and maybe I can have my team just write this into the, so I don't have to go in there and type it, write it into the little chat here. What my 5 elements are is really brand presence, product information, accuracy, customization, options, and upgrades. It's kind of the 5 core elements. So as we go through this one, keep those ones in mind. I'm going to be touching on them kind of sporadically as we go through here, trying to highlight those ones as much as possible. But certainly this first one being brand presence. You're going to see logos throughout this process. Some of the logos, of course, are going to be your brand, your company, but if you can also highlight other brands. Brands are kind of a symbol of trust. People find the things that they like. They're able to establish a bit of trust with that brand. Think Coca-Cola or Nike or any of those kinds of things that you might be trusting in. Now, of course, on my title page is where I also hit on that point number 4, the customization. I definitely want to make this picture on the title page be a picture of my homeowner's actual house. I want their house to be the star of the show throughout the process, highlighted with my brand as well, really bringing that kind of mental connection. Now, as I click on this one, it's just going to take me kind of page by page. Here, I'm just jumping back up here to my introduction section. This is where I'm going to be very informative to the customer. I can make these things say whatever I'd like. I can customize it to my heart's content to really highlight things. But one thing I want to do is kind of make it a little bit repeatable. So I'm going to customize it by just making sure that it's always referencing my customer's name where I can, salesperson who's selling it, creating that, that kind of one-to-one connection. This is also going to be where I'm putting in some product information. Really great way to do that is by putting in sales brochures from the manufacturer that you're using. I'm using Owens Corning in this case. For one, they're a really good product, but also they've got really good product sheets. So I like being able to put some of these details in here. And typically what I'll do in this case is by showing them that what we're using is not just materials. It's not just, hey, roofing products and shingles. Most customers don't think about roofing until they need to get their roof. They get their roof put on, and then they never really think about it again. These homeowners are not typically roofing experts. They often don't know the different components that go into it, why those components are important, the differences of shingle brands. It's all kind of brand new to them. So we need to take an approach of educating our customer, and we're going to do that with product information, really highlighting the value of both the product and then also the systems. Pretty much every roofing manufacturer of a product is going to have a system that goes along with it. Owens Corning has the total protection roofing system. That's going to highlight the core products required to hit a certain warranty standard, right? So an additional thing that I can sell on in terms of value. Imagine being a homeowner not knowing anything about products or the roofing process. I want to make sure I'm educating them. I'll talk about products. I'll talk about shingles, features, benefits, literally anything that I think is going to benefit my sales process. And probably guys are walking around, and the hundreds of people I've talked to will oftentimes keep these things in a little folder or a binder, but you run out of them. They get creased, they get coffee stains on them. So keeping it nice and professional, having it all digital, really, really handy. I'm going to gloss over some of this stuff here because really any sales sheet can help. Now, I'm diving into an inspection section here. This is again where we're going with kind of that accuracy and customization, right? These are photos of the actual property. So if you're getting up on the roof, and I recommend that be part of your process, get up on the roof. I kind of call this a diagnostic approach to selling. So just like you might go to the doctor if you've got some symptoms, they're going to identify those symptoms. They're going to prescribe a solution. I'm doing the exact same thing. So if I get up on a roof and I look around, I'm going to document anything that looks unusual to me, anything that I think the homeowner should be aware of, particularly if I'm going to use this as like an insurance claim. I want to be documenting everything that I can. For sake of ease here, I've just put in 2 photos, but you can put in as many photos as you'd like. So drop the pictures in, draw on them to make sure they've got more context, and give them some notes off to the side so that they're really understanding what the core issue is. And then I'll use this as a little bit of leverage, of course, to develop that trust, but also to kind of push some sense of urgency, right? If you've got these kind of things on your roof, you certainly need to be able to get this thing taken care of this year. I wouldn't be pushing this to next year or the year after that, or even a few months from now. Let's get this thing booked in because you have some problems on your roof that we can address. Now, how are we going to address that? We're going to address that with our quotes, right? So I was kind of showing off that Owens Corning system. It's got all the different components in there. Here's a quote with a base product, in Oak Ridge. The reason why I'm using this one is simply because I want to be able to provide an offering that is still a really good quality, but is not going to be the most expensive option. I kind of want to be able to offer typically a good, better, best. So this is my good option. Your good option could be literally anything that you'd like, any product that you'd like, but this is a really solid one. It's got all of the line items in here that are going to be required from that total protection roofing system. And I'm showing them a single bulk price at the bottom. Now, of course, if you're using Sumo, you have the ability to show quantity, unit price, customize these line items, add literally anything that you want in here, and show everything if I wanted to. Typically, I just say, this is what you're getting. This is what it costs. And if that's kind of too high of a price point in terms of a bulk figure, we do have the option to finance it. So I'm giving them more flexibility in the way that they can say yes and make it easier for them to really just make a decision and say, yep, that's the one we're going with. Pretty much anybody who owns their home can afford $107 a month. So it's not that big of a deal here for them. But of course, most homeowners or a lot of homeowners might not have $14,000 just sitting in their bank account, not allocated for something. Here's a better option. Now, of course, if I'm offering a good, better, best, I do want to be able to, be pushing my higher end products. That's certainly what I want to be able to install. And I know I'm going to make more profit when selling these higher ticket items. And, warranty is better. So with this system, what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, it includes all the same craftsmanship. The problem is being solved to the same standard. We're just using higher quality products now. So those higher quality products, upgrading the shingle, the underlayment, the ridge cap, the starter, this is now taking me into the ability to offer them a higher grade warranty. So it's coming with some serious advantages. Here I'm just listing some talking points, and these talking points are really just, items out of a sales sheet, reiterating again to them that, these systems come with different benefits. And I've listed a few here. You could add as many as you'd like, but I'm really trying to highlight the idea that this is coming with a better warranty. So standard cost, upgrades, advantages justify the higher cost here. And the total, they can even finance this option. Now, here's an even better option. Now, it's probably unlikely that most people are going to be going with the absolute high-end version, but you never know. Some people have money saved up. Some people are looking to have the highest quality products put on their roof. So here I've got a Duration Flex or Duration Pro option. So it's got my same basic cost, all of my additional upgrades, comes with the extended 50-year warranty, got a little bit of a cost bump there, both in terms of just bulk price or estimated monthly financing. My advantages, my total cost, my total financing, right? Now, here, this is where everything kind of gets summarized. And, as tacky as it might sound, we call this your money-making page. This is really where it's a summary for the homeowner to determine exactly what the options are, good, better, best. They can choose in their budget range. I've got financing options available, and I've got upgrades available. So I always like to be able to offer these upgrades. Now, if we're looking back and trying to remember what are the key elements of the perfect quote, right? We've got our brand, and we've got our brand on as many things as we can. I've got my brand and logo on a couple other sheets in here. I've definitely been extensive with my product information. The amount of people that I've talked to that, you look at a quote and they look at the price, they're trying to compare, this contractor versus that contractor, and it's a clear look, and you go, man, this guy hasn't even listed what shingle is going on there. He said that he's listed a brand name maybe, but we haven't talked specifics. We don't know what's actually going on there. He could be throwing on any old garbage, really. We don't know what it is. So being able to sell based off of, you guys as the professional and the products as being really high quality products, I want to make sure that I'm adding that in there. We haven't yet really touched on the accuracy. That's going to be the behind the scenes. So I'm going to exit out of this page in a moment, and I'm going to show you some accuracy to how these numbers actually were formed, right? I want to make sure that, here, just jump back to that page. I want to make sure that these numbers are accurately being estimated, right? And I'll show you how that came to be. But when it comes to my customization or my options and upgrades, I always want to be able to offer at least a good, better, best, or maybe a roofing, siding, gutters combo if we're looking at full exteriors or we're looking at insurance claims. And then here I've got additional upgrades. So if they choose my cheapest possible option for $14,549, they can still get high profile ridge cap, premium ridge venting system. I've got one listed here. It's just literally any upgrade you can think of. Now, that's not something that I would offer, but it's just an example of you can put in any upgrade you can think of. So one joke I'll usually make is just the kind of, hey, we can cut your grass, walk your dog, give you a high five. It doesn't really matter. I can list a price on something, and if you want it, I can sell it to you. Just throw it in there. It's going to be part of the upgrade. Now, here, sign off on colors. I have a couple of additional sales brochures, right? Now, these are ones that they're actually not coming from Owens Corning. They have Owens Corning branding on them, but these are ones that we've actually designed. And if I click this button here, it will just redirect me back over to the Owens Corning website to look at all the different shingle designs and colors and really build out your roof. So an example of some more sales brochures in there. Now, if you're looking at the ones that we've designed for you, we've got a whole library of different custom templates that you guys can add your logos into. This is an area where you can make these your own, make it really look like you guys are taking advantage of that partnership here with your material providers. This is an example of one. I just threw a logo in here for a company that we work with quite a bit. You can put your own logos into our sales sheets. You can highlight the sales sheets to make sure that you're addressing, colors that you might not offer or might not be in stock in your area. And then again, I can click any of these links. It'll redirect me back over to the website to take a better and closer look at what that material is going to be. You can put in your terms and conditions, your contract service agreements. I've just used a couple of our custom templates, and I've dropped in some logos from a company here so you get a better idea of what those things can look like. But anything that you want to throw in here, you can. These can be fully signed. Your signatures can be placed pretty much anywhere in here, initials wherever you need them. So I'm using some examples of that as well, making sure that the logo is really standing out. I'm just using this logo because it's a company that we do quite a bit of work with. And so I built out some of these ones for them. Here again, sales brochures, right? This is another custom page where if I click this little warranty, it's going to take me over and it's going to show me exactly how that warranty breaks down, what's required for each warranty type. And we'll see that this actually will match the way that I built out my quote. So let me exit out of this thing really quick. So here, if I just click on this, you can actually see if I hover over it, it just has a little backlink here. If I click it, it takes me over to the warranty system. If I scroll up here, if I hover over one of these, click it, it's going to take me over to the color page on the Owens Corning website. Really slick. So before we go and look to either send this over for signing or sign it right now, let's actually take a look and see how it was constructed. If I exit out of here, if you're familiar with SumoQuote already, these are all the pages that went into building the quote. So, we saw our title page, our introduction page, some sales brochures. Maybe I've gone a little over the top with the sales brochures on this one, just as a sample. If I don't think that those are necessary, I can certainly toggle them off, toggle the ones on that I want, show different options for financing, sure, whatever, toggle them on and off as I need to. In terms of how the quote was built, that accuracy component, what I've done here is I've tied it to a measurement tool. Let's actually jump completely out of the quote and into our customer itself. I've got my guy's name here. I loaded in measurements. So off to the side here, my little measurement tool. I can basically use any measurement type that I want. I used Eagle View in this case. I just searched or ordered an Eagle View. It populated the report in here. I could use hovers, I could use roof scopes. If I go over here and hit upload file, I can drop in roof R reports, roof snap reports, all sorts of different measurement tools, or I can, get up there with a tape measure and hand measure it and drop these things in. So if I didn't like these measurements or for whatever reason wanted to change them or hand measure, I could put them in, nothing stopping me there. Or just hit apply, it drops in all my real numbers. We are good to go. I will jump back, go into my quote again. We'll see where those measurements actually were applied. Now, all of these tabs, remember, are the individual pages that are going into the quote. Let me just check our time here. Oh yeah, we got lots of time. So looking at all the tabs, the individual pages that are going into the quote, essentially, a lot of these pages are sales presentation. They are explaining things to the homeowner. They're getting the homeowner more familiar with who you are as a company, who you are as a trusted brand, why you're the best contractor in the area, why they should be choosing you as a company. And then, of course, looking at some of the products and brochures there. On my inspection page, this is where I've added in my photos. Really, really important to add photos in, draw on the photos for more context. It is as easy as adding in an item, either uploading a photo that would be taking a picture or pulling it from a source where you're storing your photos. Here I've got it synced to Company Cam as well. I can go and drop in whatever pictures I want and then draw on them. This is really, again, customizing that quote, right? Drawing it like this. Hit the little pencil button. Now, this is not crazy difficult. This is finally my kindergarten art skills truly paying off in the real world. I can draw on things finger paint style and put notes about this area. Easy. Now, let's get to the quote details. Now, SumoQuote is called SumoQuote. Obviously, we can quote a project. That page right there is going to do all my quoting for me. And what it's doing is it's taking into account, I've built my little framework here for accuracy. I always want to be offering my good, better, best. So I've got these 3 tabs built out here. I have it automatically selecting my preferred financing plan. But again, everything is customizable here. If I chose to maybe remove an option and add in a different option, I could absolutely do that. Or switch out financing plans. That's pretty easy. Go and grab whatever financing plan I want. Here, I'll go and use that one. It's very, very easy to customize and change these things. In terms of accuracy, this is a major component. So I've already set the framework. I know that if I do a roof for a customer this afternoon, then I go to their neighbor's house, I go to somebody down the street. It doesn't really matter. If I'm redoing their roof and I'm using my classic Owens Corning system, I've got my standard line items that are going to be required here. Now, this might be a little bit contentious, but I prefer to quote accurately. You would be very surprised at how many people I talk to that say, hey, the way I learned how to quote is we have a standard price per square. Let's say it's $450 a square or $550 a square or whatever it might be. And they say, we sell it $450 a square. I take a look at the basic measurements. It's about 30 squares at $450 a square is X price. Now, of course, I can keep estimating that way. There's not a ton wrong with that, but I would prefer to be accurate, right? If we're looking at what are the elements of a perfect quote, accuracy is probably really high up there on the list. And that's where I actually want my quotes to be breaking down every component of what I need for my roof and actually building my price based off of the material requirements, the labor requirements, and the profit margin. Now, that's what you'd be doing if you're pricing it per square anyway, but that's where, if you're pricing per square, it really is more of an estimate than it is an accurate quote, right? Here, I'm breaking down every little component. How am I doing that? Well, I'm not doing the math every time myself and busting the calculator out. I'm using a computer for this. If I click this little chain link, I already know the material component. I'm selling this particular product. I know what it costs me per bundle. I know the labor cost to install. I know what profit margin I'm expecting to make. Now, everything about this can be customized. I could swap my pricing around or do whatever I'd like. Say, hey, I want to make 35% profit. All of this is customizable. You guys set your price to what you want. But then this number right here, my quantity, well, that's taking into account my accurate measurement. Now, EagleView, super accurate measurement tool. It's loaded in what my total roof area is, what my waste factor is. I'm running those 2 numbers through this particular formula, right? Pretty standard. It's going to get me the amount of bundles of shingles I need. I need 85 bundles of shingles. I know the material, labor, and profit margin associated to them. So I know exactly what I'm billing out each unit at. Now it's doing that for my starter, my ridge cap, my ice and water shield, my underlayment, my drip edge, literally everything. So when I actually sign off on this quote and I go to do a material order, I'm not having to sit there and do the math again to understand what I need to order. I've built my quote. to match the requirements. So I'm just bypassing that extra step. Ideally, I don't want to do more work than I have to. I want to do it right the first time, right? That's kind of the same philosophy that you might take in installing a roof. Is it should be installed correctly the first time. Well, your pricing and your quote should be done correctly the first time, so you're not having to go back and figure out what you need for that price. So here, with all of those numbers kind of considered, I've got my material, my labor, my profit margin for everything. If I wanted to, I could add additional items. Maybe there's some weird things on this roof that I need to be able to add in. I could add them in. I'll just put in like that random thing I need. I could put in totally random and totally unique items. Let's say that this thing costs $500, or I can pull from a list, right? If I go like this and I just start typing in, hey, we put in an inspection photo here for a cricket. I already have a saved line item here. It's going to describe what I need. I already have it priced out, and we need one of those. This house also has a chimney on there, so maybe I need some additional flashing. I've got a chimney flashing kit. Let's throw one of those on there. We're now good to go. Everything is priced out accordingly. Just about anybody on your team could, it's very point and click. They can learn how to do this. We can also help and teach your team to make sure that they're up to speed on everything. And then here's a major component. We're all in this industry because we like dealing with customers, and it's a great way to make money. So let's make sure that our quotes are actually making us money. If I look at this total cost breakdown here, I can make my overall decision on the total cost of the job by my profit margin, right? Here I'm making 42% profit. I'd be making that profit in dollars, and I can simply dial this up, dial it down, figure out exactly what I'm making. Most people, particularly the people that I chat with, and again, hundreds and hundreds of companies, I found that most people will do the quote, they will complete the job, and then after the job, they're looking at what was completed and the things that were ordered, and then they're kind of cross-referencing what was, a cost per square that was sold. Did we actually meet that when we made all the materials? And they'll find that, their profit margins, the estimate of what they thought doesn't necessarily always match up with what they were expecting. Here, I'm actually able to sell the job knowing to the decimal point what I can expect in terms of a profit percentage or the dollars of profit. And I can, slide that to where I need it to be. If I want to, I can also include markups or discounts if there's particular things that I want to be able to discount. Maybe I'm going to say this guy gets a military service discount. And he's getting $500 off. That's going to drop my profit percentage because I'm giving him a little bit of a discount there. Of course, I had to hit caps lock. I will leave it the way that it is, but it's going to actually line that out on the quote for them. I hit review and share on this guy, and we are ready to go, ready to sell, ready to actually produce the job once I do get my signature. Getting the signature is super easy. Now, of course, I'm doing a screen share and showing it to you guys like this, but I would also recommend, if you can, have your guys go in, sit at the kitchen table with the homeowner, and build this out on like an iPad, a tablet, your laptop, your phone. I would probably recommend using something that's a bigger screen instead of using a smaller screen. Just people feel a little bit more comfortable with it. No one's got to get their reading glasses out to look at a small screen like your phone. I can sit at the kitchen table with you, review everything. If I get hit with objections, I can handle the objections in real time, exiting out of my quote, making changes, turning on sales brochures, throwing in discounts that are approved, throwing in a different financing option. Maybe I've got a better financing plan for them. Here, I'll throw in something random like that and say, hey, does it work now with this financing option? We've got our military service discount in there, and we've got a new financing plan. That seems like it's a better fit. Let's go ahead and move forward. Right? When I'm looking at the quote overall, all of the pages, I have the ability to send this off for signing or sign it right now. As this addresses my changes there, I can hit sign now. It opens up an interactive version of the quote that my customer is able to make all of their selections on. So far, hopefully, everybody is is understand what I'm going through right now. I'm going to double check our time. I do always have a tendency to go over. We've got about 5-ish minutes left. So let's do a really quick sign of this quote. I would recommend, if you have the ability, do this in person at the kitchen table. They can pick and choose their options here, whether they're going to go paid in full or financed. They can pick and choose whichever one of these they want. Of course, I deleted out my other option as an example, but I can come in here like this. I'm going to choose that package, choose my upgrades like so, sign off on my color if I need to. It's not a requirement to sign off on color. They can do that later. And then here it's totaling everything up. Maybe in this case, that is too pricey for me. I'll come back up to the top and finance it. Great, that's a nice monthly payment. Let's go ahead and sign off on this one. Throw in a crazy scribble. You can see here now, I wouldn't name it this, but just for this example, I've called it my branded terms and conditions because my terms and conditions in my contract had my logo, had my branding on there. I'm applying my signature to that page. If you guys are familiar with using a DocuSign or any type of e-signer, all of that's included in Sumo, and we'll apply that signature wherever it needs to go. So now I've got my quote. It's been successfully signed. Customer gets emailed a signed copy. You guys get emailed a signed copy. You can have one BCC'd to your accountant or anything like that. And then if you're using a CRM, you've got a dedicated CRM. Maybe you're using Job Nimbus or Rooflink or any CRM, really. You can have a signed copy sent over that way. And there's one sitting right here. It usually takes about a minute or so. Well, not really a minute, usually about 10 seconds before that signed copy has the ability to be completely exported over directly, every line item, into my QuickBooks Online account. So if you are using QuickBooks for your accounting system, that's just, again, making sure that everything is accurate. What was quoted is what gets ordered, is what gets sold, is what goes into your QuickBooks account for invoicing. Really, really great to keep everything nice and consistent. So I'm going to leave this page here. I've been clicking around all over the place, but really the main things that I want to be able to have in a quote, I want to have my brand on there. I want to have my logos in there. Really easy in SumoQuote. You can go into your branding, drop in whatever logos you want, match your colors out. You can have a variety of different themes for your logo. I said I wasn't going to click around, and then I start clicking around. I want to include product information for whatever it is that I'm selling. If I'm doing roofing, siding, gutters, if I want to throw in Owens Corning, if I want to throw in, Atlas or whatever product I'm using, whatever siding products I'm using, I can include all of those sales brochures. If you guys haven't seen it already, including your branding, if you go to your name and you go to tutorials and support, we have a ton of custom sales brochures. If I just go over here, custom pages, customer custom pages. There's a ton of pages here in our library. You could say, hey, I want to get more access to, maybe some of the general pages to put your logos on, or maybe some of the manufacturer pages. They're all really, really well designed. Literally, all you do is drop your logo into them, and you can conform the entire page to your color scheme. Really, really slick. Quote should be accurate, right? It should be well priced with a trustable measurement tool like an Eagle View or whatever you guys like to use, and then have your pricing put in there. We do sync up to some pricing tools. If you want more information on how to accurately price, Sean from my team is running a session all on pricing. You can price a job however you feel comfortable, though I've got some recommendations on ways that it will massively save you guys time and make sure that you're more accurate. Customization, of course, I want to make sure that, if I'm customizing things for my brand or for the customer with inspection reports and drawings, I'm going to do that. And then my options and my upgrades. We actually ran a survey. We're a tech company, right? So we've got all the data. We're able to actually determine that across a grand average of our customer base, we've seen their close rates go up by about 60% on average. We are seeing about 1/3 of all upgrades that are being offered are being selected. That directly translates into about a $2,400 average job size increase. So if you guys are looking to close more jobs and have them done at a higher value, make more profit, SumoQuote's definitely the way to go, or at least following the guides here of the top 5 things to be looking out for, the top elements of a quote. I'm at 33 minutes. probably don't have time for a Q&A here. So what I'm going to do is, if you guys have been asking questions in the little chat, hopefully my team's been answering them there. I've been jumping around on too many different pages to really be paying attention in that area. But look out, I'm going to have my team put in some links there. You can connect with me personally on a video call. You can book right into my calendar, or if you're already a SumoQuote customer, you can go ahead and book a time with your customer success manager. If I've got 2 more minutes, one of the kind of bonus elements I would throw in there would be that all of this really allows you to standardize your sales process. One of the biggest questions that I get asked from people all the time is like, hey, I've created a system that I think works quite well. It's working really well for 1 or 2 or 5 people, but we're looking to expand. We want to be, either franchising our model. Maybe we want to open up another location. Maybe we want to just be adding in a bunch of sales guys. One of the trickiest things when people are looking to scale their company is they haven't figured out a way to standardize their process. Essentially, the gold standard would be if I had the ability to go in and just clone myself and then have that be sales guy number 2, and then clone myself again, have that be sales guy number 3. Well, I would have the most badass sales team in the entire country. If I could have 100 of myself, we would be absolutely crushing it. Essentially, what SumoQuote allows you to do is really have the ability to clone yourself. I can build a quote out in a matter of minutes here, and I do that simply by creating a really solid layout in my system. I can load in customer information, my measurements, my photos. All I have to do is go create from a layout. I can pick literally any pre-made quote style that I've approved on, my sales manager has approved on, say, hey guys, you're building this. And in a matter of seconds, bam, we've got a quote. I can customize it, throw in my primary images, my inspection report, but this thing is ready to go and ready to be sold. I could literally build a quote at your kitchen table in 2 minutes and sell it. So I think that's all we have here in terms of time. Take a look at the chat. And yeah, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys. I hope you check out some of the other sessions. Definitely take a look at Sean's session. Pricing quotes is really, really important. And other than that, guys, hope I chat with you. I hope I see you guys booking into my calendar. I'd love to be able to chat with you, go into this in more detail for you. And other than that, enjoy the rest of the day, you guys. Bye for now.